Hi everyone. In this video, let's try to enable an update management solution for the application architecture which you are trying to automate using Terraform. So in the previous videos, we have worked on deploying the VNets and different VNets, and we configured different subnets, and we peered the network, and we have deployed the VMs and application gateway and load balancer and the backend servers, and we have configured the backend pools for all these load balancers, and yet to deploy a SQL server. So in the coming videos, we'll be deploying a SQL server and create a secretless connection between between a backend server and the uh, SQL server. And because usually the backend servers can be interacted with the SQL servers only when there is a connection string and everything. But instead of this, of utilizing this in the application code, we can actually create a managed identity, which is as we have a group of machines, so we'll prefer to have a user assigned identity, and for these user assigned identities we will be ensuring that they have a connection to the SQL database and all that. Now in this video we'll specifically develop an administration solutions also to make it bit more interesting and everything. We'll deploy an administration solutions where it is to enable the update management for the VMs which are existing in the subscription. So these are the VMs. There are front-end servers and there are back-end servers and there are admin servers. So we want our machines to be always up to date. In terms, when we say up to date, the OS is to be up to date. They have to have the critical updates, the miscellaneous updates and the security updates, everything to be in place. And for that we utilize the update management solution, because we can actually, using the update management, we can tell which updates to be done, which updates should not be done, and what is the status of the update. And we can update with a group of machines at ease without any inconvenience and all that. So how do we enable this update management using Terraform is all the key, and let's jump into it. So this is could be a bit tricky one, and definitely in case if you're adding this in your resume that you have set up and enable update management solution, it is a great feature, because there is no direct resource in Terraform which can get the job done of update management solution. But still, and still there was in it was difficult. It was not. I couldn't able to find any code in the internet which was developed. Probably there was one, but from my research in the last 1 hour of working on this solution, I couldn't able to find it. So this could be an adding a good one, because most of the update management solution right now via Terraform is not being done. So let's jump into it. How will we do this provisioning and all that? So if I go create a text file and here, so let's understand, let's postmortem how does the update management solution work. So there will be a group of machines and we have to enable the update management solution. So the log analytics workspace should be linked to the machine and also to the automation account, and only then the these machines will send their update solution update whatever the status of their updates and everything to the log analytics, and from that or the configuration of the software, the configuration of their OS KB files and everything. And once that is done, the log analytics will send that data, can be pulled that data to the automation accounts update management solution. So we have to enable the update management. We have to ensure that we can enable the update management solution for this. Now, how do we do this? And after doing this, we have to go and enable to the VMs, that ensuring that the VMs are connecting to the log analytics in terms of sending that updates and everything. So this is the goal. So we'll break down this approach, because in Terraform, when I started looking at how do we any uh, Terraform update management and we couldn't able to get any specific resources which could help in terms of this one. So there, that is the reason why we could able to bring right now. This one is trying to talk. Okay, this was it was different one. This was not from HashiCorp, so we're not going into it. And how do we develop this? So there is no specific update management solution from Terraform yet. And so create an let's find an approach on how to create it. And automation account. So I'll create a first an automation account. I'll create this as we need an automation account. And then I'm going to name as I want this automation account. Usually we'll try to keep the automation account log analytics in a different regions entirely, and also along with it we'll keep that in a different resource group. So I'm going to do the same thing here, auto ACC, and I'll go to main.tf, and I'll create a different resource group, auto ACC, and I'm going to name that as auto ACC, and I'm going to keep this in East-US. Let's do this, and this should be good enough. And I'll name this as automation, and I'll keep this as Terra. See, the location as will be there from the resource group, and everything is good. I'm gonna remove the tags, but I also want to ensure that there is an identity block. So because when I create an right now the recent automation accounts, they're asking do you want it to prefer an system assigned identity or a user assigned identity? So I'm going to prefer system assigned identity at this point of time. For when we give system assigned identity, we just need to provide type equals system assigned identity, and that is just copy this and paste it here. And this is good. So this will create an automation account. So let me go and update in gmt.tf, and I'll save it under all files, and I'll do a Terraform validate first, and everything is good. Now I'll do a Terraform plan, and I'll see if there are any runtime exceptions. Now along with this automation account, the next thing is create a log analytics workspace. So let's create a log analytics workspace. And if I go back here, and there is no runtime exception, so we are good with this. I'm going to copy this log analytics workspace, manages log analytics workspace solution. Okay, not solution, but a log analytics workspace alone. And here I'm going to name this, as I'm going to use this log analytics only for the updates point of view. I'm going to name this as uh, and I'm going to name this as Terra. I'll keep this in location in a different location which I'm comfortable with, and now I'll do a Terraform validate. Okay, directly I jumped into Terraform plan. If in case if I get any error of syntax, it will throw it. Otherwise, at least it will even show me the runtime exceptions. So I think we are good. So it is working out well. Now, after the log analytics workspace, the next thing, as I mentioned, is enable the log analytics workspace to be holding the updates and everything. Now, how do we do that? So we have to configure a solution for this. If I go into this and I can mention solution, I'm getting to this service, copy this. So here, this is where I mention which solution I wanted to configure. Is it a container insights or app insights, or I would like to prefer it to be a updates. So I'm going to make it an updates at this point of time, and I'm going to take this as the workspace ID is nothing but Azure RM Loganalytics Workspace, Terra account ID and name. And the resource group name is also in the same resource group, but the location here that should be of Loganalytics Workspace location. That's the something we have to take care of. And once this is done, we are in a good shape. And after I enable this log analytics workspace solution, I have to ensure that I can link this log analytics to the automation account. So how do we link that? So we have an resource for it in Terraform, which will link it to a Terraform to the automation accounts, and this is where we get into this is the one. Now, if we have two arguments, okay, but related to automation account, there is only one which is needed. The right access is only for the Loganalytics cluster. So we are going to just copy this, going to take this here, and one thing mistake which I also didn't take care of is tag and referencing this properly. Now I'll take this one as here, and the resource group is Terra account dot name, and the log analytics workspace also will be Terra account ID, and the read access. Now if we just look at the read access, that is also Terra account only, so there is no confusion with this. And this should be good enough in terms of taking care of it. So let's do a Terraform validate, and then we do a Terraform plan and see whether we have any runtime exceptions or not. Now we have got this, so everything is good. Now we have to go and enable the update management solution. So the way I found out is there was no specific way to do it, but what I figured out is when we and manually are trying to update is trying to see a virtual machine as having an update management solution enabled, it is actually having a monitoring agent extension running in it. So this is the one which I try to look at, and somehow it's working well, because as expected the machine is linked to the log analytics workspace and do it. This is a jugaad I tried in the last hour, but I'm not sure whether this is there is an approved style or not, but this is what I have found out when I was trying to do, because there was no direct resource, just like the way we see log analytics solution. There is no resource by Terraform as of now which provides in terms of providing this enabling the update management. So how do we do this? So I go into each of these instances and I'll go and create the extension, and for that Azure VM extension, and I just take this one and I copy it here, and I'm going to name this as Terra app backend frontend, and then similarly the resource group should be under the Terra app frontend only. It's the Azure RM, not it's not Azure virtual machine, it's Azure RM Windows virtual machine, so it's not Azure RM virtual machine. And Terra app frontend, and I was using count, so the way I have to even index that is this way. And I'm going to remove the tags as of now. Now the extension, how can we get the extension details? It's pretty easy. So the Azure, I would say monitoring enterprise scale monitoring JSON, and I would get it's not referring to the enterprise cloud, Microsoft enterprise cloud. So this is not the, I would actually look for Microsoft enterprise cloud. So let me copy this. Now we look at this. Now here is a JSON schema which is trying to say the JSON. So the publisher, if you go and look this, this is the publisher. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to place the publisher here. And the type is not custom script, it is actually Microsoft monitoring agent. And I'm going to copy this here. And similarly, the name is Microsoft monitoring agent. And the version, if you look at it, it is 1.0. So I'm keeping it as 1.0. And if you look at there are settings, there's protected settings. So if we go into these extensions, the resource Terraform, we have the arguments called settings, and we have protected settings, but the settings and protected settings should be given in JSON. And that is why if you look at this one, this is given in JSON. It is when we copy this in Terraform, it was given in JSON format. So the JSON format, we have to provide the inputs for protected settings and settings. So what are the values we have to provide? Workspace ID. So if I go here and copy this workspace ID here, and the value is, I have to use interpolation and Azure Log Analytics workspace. Copy this, paste it here, and then choose this Terra account. And now after, if you have tried deploying this, you will get a state file, and from that you can understand that there is a workspace ID, because this is, it wants to not point out to the resource ID, but it wants to point out to the workspace ID. So that's what we are trying to do, workspace ID, and it will give that workspace ID. Now we have protected settings also. So for the protected settings argument is this one. So I copy this, I take it to protected settings, and how do I write the JSON? The same thing, protected settings, and copy this and end it here. Now what should be there in the protected settings? If we go and look at the JSON, we need workspace key, which is nothing but the primary key of the, or any this key of the workspace log analytics workspace. So if you it is actually same thing, but it is not ID, but instead it is primary shared key. And this will, so we have two keys, which is one is secondary shared key and a primary shared key. I'm just passing the primary shared key, and this is how the extension which is deploying into the each machines. So I have to use the count.index. I have to name it as count equals 2 because I'm deploying two virtual machines. So this is how we're going to do this. So let's try to check whether there is any validation issue or not. So it is good. Now I do a Terraform plan and it should give me 44 to add because there are two machines, so two extensions should be added. Along with this, we can actually admin instances also we can enable, and even the backend instances also will enable it. So where is the backend instance? So if I go here, front end, backend, and there is no issue. So 44 to be added. So this is good. So I'm going to copy the same thing and paste it here. So I want this to be enabled after. So this should start. So let me first do the referencing part, which is very important. Otherwise, it leads to a lot of issues. So I'm going to say this as Terra admin, and even this as Terra admin, and the rest is good part. Now I'll just do the same copy part here, and now here I have to do Terra app. This is a backend one, so I have to mention Terra app backend. And now, so as I already referenced, if you see the referencing is that after the virtual machines which are been admins are being created, only then we will be having uh, this extensions will be installed. And but also with that we have log analytics workspace. After the log analytics workspace has been created, only then they will be trying to link. But I wanted to also use the depends on sign, where it is I have to mention that key after you have tried linking the automation account and everything, then only deploy this. So then I have to use the depends on and mention key dot, and the same thing here. And I'm going to save. So let me try to do a Terraform validate and see if I'm getting any errors. So everything is good. I'll do a Terraform plan and see if everything is working well. This time this is admin instance. That is. So everything is good. We don't have any issues with this. Mm, mm, mm. I have just a confusion with this one, whether it should be an array or it should be a just this one. Just give me a minute. So I think this is good because this is a meta argument, so I don't think there will be an issue with this. So I'm waiting for first the front end instances to be completed, the extensions to be completed, and then initiate the admin one, and then initiate this the rest ones. The after the admin, then go for the backend, or I can go for backend and then trigger the admin. Whatever it is fine. And I also first have to ensure that the automation account which is getting created also should be depends on uh, after creating all the virtual machines, because if we see this rest of these resources are being referenced, so they will be created after this log analytics workspace and automation accounts has been provisioned. But I don't want a parallel deployment to happen, because if it is a few resources it is fine, but when we wanted it to be more number of resources and everything, we wanted a organized fashion of deployments to happen, and for that reason we keep the depends on as a major priority. And for that, if we see the virtual machine is depends on the bastion admin, and after that this admin servers will be created, and after that after the admin servers getting created, then only the front end servers will be created, and after the front end servers got created, that is when the back end servers get will created. So I'm going to copy this depends on after the backends are being provisioned. So I'm going to use depends on, and I'm going to mention this as Terra app backend, and oh, same thing. After this depends on, I'm going to copy. After the automation account got created, that is when I wanted log analytics workspace. So I think I did a good job. Now do a Terraform validate and do a Terraform plan, and let's see what is gonna happen. So the resources will get deployed. There is no issues with this, and so on. So these are all the resources which will be triggered. Now let's do a Terraform apply and auto approve, and this should trigger a deployment, and it's going to take around 15 minutes for the deployment to get completed. Let's wait for that. Thank you. So one of the mistake I could see that we have got an error, and in the deployment. So everything has worked out, but the only thing is uh, the miss part is in terms of solution, where I instead of configuring the as it as an update solution, I have made it as a container insights, and that has created a bit of issue. And so even if I try to do it, I believe that's going to throw an error. But let me redo it, or I'll dare to re-destroy this and redo it. Just give me a minute, guys. Thank you. So this has worked. So one of the thing which I understood is even here I have a uh, referencing part in terms of log analytics and everything. I should have used this solution so that it could have a less impact. So depends on, and I'm going to keep this here. So first the log analytics solution should be completed, and then should link this service, and then after that if we go and then after the linked service has been done, then the front end instance and everything. But what happened is the front end the extensions have been installed all one by one, and then the solution has been tried updating. So that has created a issue here. So I believe if we go into the portal and if we look at all the resources, I should be seeing all the resources here. And if I go into automation account RG, I should find this tracking automation account. Then if I go into the update management and let me check, so the update management has been enabled, and let me see. So I don't see the machines yet are being linked to this. The issue could be from the monitoring tracking status. So let me go back here and to the resource groups. And if I look at AppC India RG and I take any instance and let me see the extensions. Provisioning got succeeded, so there is no issue with that. If I go into updates and I go into click on updates, let me see the update management solution is getting updated. So that has also been enabled. Only thing it's going to, because there it's not a direct one. As I mentioned previously, it is there is not a direct resource, but indirectly through the extensions, I was trying to link this, and that is why update management is going to take certain 5-10 minutes after the deployment to actually show that all the resources are being linked from the automation account. It has to show. So let's wait for 5 minutes and then check this. So I don't see the update status has been configured. So in this kind of cases, what we'll try to do is we will taint the resources. So the optimal solution at this point of time is the troubleshooting, which I'll try to do is I will taint the resources. And now I'll similarly for front end, and then this is one, then similarly admin and this one. So I tainted the extensions of this, and I'll do a Terraform apply so that only this specific resources will be destroyed and then will be redeployed. So taint is a functionality to destroy that and redeploy that again. And I think hopefully this should resolve the issue. So let's wait for that to happen. Now if we see 6 to be added and 6 to be destroyed. So first they'll destroy the extensions and then they will deploy it once again.